Uncultured Swine, a member of society which is seen as an outcast, knows nothing, and lives under a rock. Hello, welcome to another episode of Culture by the Uncultured. All right, guys, on today's episode, it's going to be a little nerdier than usual. There was some really awesome news in the gaming world released. We have a sort of a discussion / argument about the greatest pretty much nerd universe ever created. And we got a little bit of this or that at the end for you guys. Any of you guys want to go first with the reveal, or do you guys just want me to take the reins on that and go ahead and move forward? I mean, I guess it's not really a reveal anymore. For the most part, most people know already that Borderlands 3 was announced. Oh my gosh, applause, yelling, everybody cheers in the background. Sam, what do you think about this?
Oh man, are you kidding me? People have been waiting this for like years.
Yes.
Like there's people who put down gaming consoles altogether that are probably going to pick it up just to play it once more.
Oh, I bet.
Like this is probably one of the best looter shooters like ever, especially taking in the fact that you have 4 different characters, all different classes, all different presets, different character trees that can go on to different skins and what have you. It's awesome. Like people have been waiting for this game to make a comeback, and now they're going to get their chance.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of people are also just excited just for the story of Borderlands. I mean, it's probably one of the most creative stories. I mean, Destiny, I didn't follow that story. Division 2, Division, I didn't really follow that story. Didn't play Anthem, and I mean, as far as Borderlands concerned, though, like the Vault Hunters and the Vault in the first one, Handsome Jack being the second one. Pre-sequel, I didn't even play that whole game, and I know it's a lot of it has to do with like basically how Hyperion takeover thing happened, and you know they got to Pandora and all that stuff and defeated everybody.
It's revealing that Jack actually isn't that bad of a person. Like the pre-sequel is just pretty much telling you like Jack's not the bad guy. Like you're the bad guy. Like it's just that's all it shows is, you know, your preconceived notion of Jack is like completely wrong.
Yeah. And I think that's super great for the way the flow of the story so far from Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, pre-sequel, even Tales from the Borderlands. I played that briefly, but as far as the story is concerned, I've kept up with the whole thing. I think all of the games are worth their weight in gold. And just overall for the general public, I mean, when it comes to looter shooters, I feel like most people hate really grindy games. In this game, it's not hard to grind. You know, it's just you play through it, you play the story, and then, you know, you can keep playing it. And, you know, you get your it's called like OP levels, I think, and then like, you know, you just keep getting better gear. It's not like I have to do this specific mission to get this specific thing, you know, because I have to do it within a certain time limit to get this or that, you know. And I really appreciate that.
It's pretty much find it, pick it up, shoot it.
Yeah.
Well, one of the best things about Borderlands is split screen. It's one of the few games that still does that. I think that should be mentioned.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like people take that for granted nowadays. I mean, there's a lot of games that I could definitely see being split screen or have the potential to be split screen. But I mean, I guess with just the...
you know, you can get more money selling 2 copies.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's what most people are going for with the whole digital age and internet being attached to everything. So now they're just like, oh, well, who's going to want to play this game with a friend in their own house? You know, they're just going to play from 2 separate rooms in 2 different areas online anyway. So, you know, And like you said, double the money too. So, but I mean, split screen is definitely, it's one
of my favorite things about Borderlands.
Yeah. I have my own feelings about split screen. I think it's kind of negative.
Oh, really?
When you take away the split screen.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
It was, you know, as a kid, it was a little bit more social. Like, hey, let's go to your house and play Halo.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Stuff like that. Hey, let's go to your house. We can play Call of Duty. Now it's, yeah, I'll see you later. I'm about to go home and get on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll be online in like 15 minutes.
I remember even just a couple of years ago, like being able to, you know, play games online with old friends or something, you know, stay up all night playing online still, you know, like we're in the same house playing a multiplayer online game, but we're just playing split screen, you know, and it's still fun.
Yeah.
Having a good time still, you know.
Well, and you know, if this Borderlands, I haven't seen if they're going to do split screen or not.
No, they are. They showed split screen in at least 2 or 3 of the reveals. There was a leaked reveal trailer that came out that got deleted off Twitter. That was like all split screen. It was the title of it was Borderlands and Chill. So the whole video was split screen.
Which tells me something else. Now we can actually have a party at the house and run a full squad on Borderlands.
Oh yeah, we could, but yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna I would assume that this is gonna be the biggest Borderlands game ever by a wide margin, just because the last game or the last main, even the last game period, came out on previous gen consoles. So with the whole Blu-ray disc having more data or having a bigger space or more memory, I guess you can say, for the game. So the game can be a lot bigger. Graphics can be updated to however much you can update cell shaded graphics. I know they had that big demonstration at, was it E3 like 2 years ago or something like that, which is actually, I think, the first time one of the characters was revealed. But I'm sure they're going to do a lot with this game as far as story, characters. Probably just even, who knows, adding other old characters. That'd be awesome too. I'd appreciate that a lot.
I think there were some old characters in the
trailer.
previews, trailers. Yeah. And there's definitely, I think it's definitely going to be a bigger game because they said explore new worlds. And there's you're going to go outside the Borderlands, it looks like, to some kind of city, maybe. It said war-torn cities, I think. So
nice.
I think it's definitely going to be a bigger world this time.
I remember in the last game, people pretty much at the end of, they saw there's multiple vaults and multiple worlds. People pretty much speculated that was going to be the case for the next game, or if there was a Borderlands 3 made, a follow-up, not the pre-sequel. Then there's a follow-up that there'll be multiple worlds to visit. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Obviously, we don't have all the information at hand, but I was just thinking maybe all of Pandora is explorable now, maybe, just because for the most part, you're on one map that stays pretty consistent. And it's you just drive or walk to whatever gate, and it takes you to another area or whatever, something like that, but if you could make the whole planet explorable, I think that'd be a lot, and that'd add a lot to the game itself. It's just as far as okay, now you have a planet wide worth of content versus maybe you visit in Borderlands 2, the continent of America, if that, you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool in itself.
Well, I thought I read somewhere it was saying that, we're going to be able to finally find or meet the big corporation that controls it all, which I think might have been in Tales from the Borderlands. Was that part of that? I thought it was. Remember.
I thought it was the Hyperion Corporation. I don't know. It could be wrong, and it could be something else.
It was something that started with an A, I thought, that they were talking
Atlas?
about.
Is that what they're talking about? Atlas?
There was something. They think that we're going to address that, but definitely there's also, I think, obviously through the trailers, you can kind of see that there's also going to be some kind of cult religious kind of bad guy too. So I don't know what that's going to be about, but
it looks like we get two big bads, which is, I'm all for that. Bring me two big bad bosses, especially if it's maybe one's halfway through and the other one's at the end. All right, I'm good with this, But
you mean the twins, counting them as separate?
Yeah. I thought that was just a cool addition. As far as it's always cool to have. Most games, movies, TV shows, whatever you have a big bad. And then having two is always awesome to me, just because it gives you somebody to either fight right before and then maybe back to back. I would hate to see them both fight at the same time, because then I'm well, what's the point of even having two guys if we're just going to fight them at the same time versus just one person where it's okay, you fight them at the end. That's it. Here's the end of the game.
Maybe you fight one alone and then the other one alone, and then you fight them together at the end or something.
Even that'd be okay. Be cool. Yeah, that'd definitely be welcomed. As long as it's not something like for example, I'm sure you guys played Kingdom Hearts, right? In the first one and the second game, you fight the last guy 3 times altogether, and to me, that's just kind of I don't really want to keep fighting this guy anymore. Is this game over now? All right, cool. Here's the ending or whatever. But if I can get somebody who's impacting the story to die before the other guy, or
yeah, but fighting the boss 3 times is like a Square Enix trope. Think about how many times Final Fantasy you beat the boss and next he transforms, and then you're oh, thank God I'm done. And he's wait, there's more. It's my final form.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Borderlands has more of a habit of bringing back old Vault Hunters and making them to this giant robot, or putting them as in side characters or in side missions than transforming bosses, other than Jack.
What do you guys think about the new Siren?
She looks fine to me.
I thought she looked pretty dope just because like the whole arms thing. I thought that was like an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Versus like, I feel like I've never played them as the characters, but I know like the first Siren chick, she does like the invisibility and then she like does like a little wave and then she just can run really fast to get away from anything, which was, I guess, useful to some degree. And the other girl in the second game, she like puts them out of the dimension. So like you can hurt them, but they can't do anything back to you. So that's kind of interesting. And then this new chick with the arms, I mean, that looks pretty dope.
Yeah, I think she's meant to be more of a tank kind of character, which is, I like to see a woman as a tank sometimes, because most of the time they're men. So it's nice to have a woman tank.
Big, burly, old, rugged men.
Yeah.
Big, old, rugged men. That's hilarious.
That is the tank. It's usually like the biggest guy on the team.
Well, that's why I thought that there's like a nomad looking character in there. That's why I assumed was going to be the possibly the tank. I mean, I think it mainly depends on like your roles and like what is available to that character. But
I mean, then again, if you think about it, most people don't play within character roles anyway.
That's true. Yeah, except for like super serious.
I mean, yeah, unless your team's like super serious. But of course, you're always going to have that one person who's like, fuck y'all, I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, screw the norm. I'm doing this my way.
If you really think about it, it's Borderlands. So 2 people are going to be fighting a boss. One person's going to be trying to catch up. And the 4th person's going to be like, I found all the loot crates. All of this shit is mine.
For real. I feel like that's like 9 times out of 10. And it's exactly how that goes.
That is 10 times out of 10. The only time everybody is fighting a boss at the same time is at the end of the game. Or unless they make you fight them.
Or like the raid bosses. Yeah, that's about it.
You guys saw the stuff about the loot, right?
The what?
The loot.
The billions of guns?
Well, and it said that there's going to be like personal loot. So it's not going to be shared. So you don't have to fight over it.
Oh, cool. So it's like you guys will see something and then I'll see something, but we won't see the same things.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's good because, you guys hog everything. Sack, so.
Wow.
Actually,
terrible teammates, especially you, Taylor.
Taylor hogs everything.
Hey, man, I just be trying to get out there and get into the action. But I mean, I feel like I'm at least aware enough because I mean, I've played with people who just pick stuff up and just keep going and they can't even use that stuff. But when it comes to a game of like progression where like certain things are only for certain characters, I at least pay attention to that and be like, hey, can you guys use this? This isn't as good as what I currently have. Can you guys use this maybe for your guys? Like I at least am capable of doing that rather than just like, oh, fuck you guys, fend for yourselves.
I admit you do that, but you also have the habit of going forward in front of everybody else and then screaming, help me.
or leaving everybody and saying, I'm sorry.
Or no, you don't leave everybody. You leave me. I'm sorry. You got this. Dude, where are you? Yo, I'm already halfway across the map right now.
Oh, man.
And I'm the one that comes and save you. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm super stoked for Borderlands. And I mean, there's just so many, I feel like so many things that game specifically has, just as far as the department of fun. We already mentioned grinding, and it's like, it's not the same as other games. It's just, pick it up and it's yours, get to the level, pick it up and it's yours. You can use it, whatever it is. There's tons of loot. Obviously, I just said billions,
And the skill tree. Like the skill tree is highly customizable. It's always been like I can play defensive and offensive at the same time.
Yeah, I've always appreciated that. And like one of my favorite things about like even Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 1, or I guess more Borderlands 2. I don't really remember doing it Borderlands 1 because I only kind of played specifically one character. But in Borderlands 2, I noticed that they have like an ability in the middle, in the middle of the tree that's like pretty, it really does something for your skill, whatever it is. Yeah. And then of course they have one at the very end of it. And I feel like it was so easy and to be able to kind of pick and choose specifically what you wanted from each tree. If you wanted to do that, you can do like a hybrid build of like 2 different things. A little hard to do 3 with, the level caps and like, getting 1 skill point per level. But with that and then the mods attached to your the mods you can get for your skills and stuff, I thought that it was really good. It was awesome to just kind of like, okay, I want the missiles to come out of my turret, but then I also wanted to have a shield, and then I wanted to be able to stick to any surface. Oh, longbow onto this, and depending on your play, whoever you're playing as, you can combine whatever's trees to your liking and make the character that you want to make, instead of having to be like, okay, I want to make this guy just be a freaking nuke and that's it, But yeah, Borderlands is great, and I'm super excited for it, and I can't wait to see more of it. I think they said there's supposed to be something that gets revealed this month, right? In April?
Yeah. Was that there was a trailer, like I said, that was released on Twitter that they deleted pretty quickly because supposedly it was a leak. But I don't know if there's something, if they're going to release it later or what.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new, if they have dropped a new trailer, I haven't seen it. I don't think I saw the one on Twitter. I've only seen the one that they did at PAX, which was pretty cool for the most part. I know like they had like some technical difficulties, but like on YouTube, obviously it plays just fine.
Well, due to my lack of like social media presence, no, I don't know how to work social media. I don't see a lot of game trailers as much as I would like on YouTube, and my YouTube is full of random stuff, so if I don't search it, I don't see it.
Well, there's definitely 3 released trailers, like official released trailers.
Yeah, I know, and I just happened to see it scrolling through YouTube one day, and I was like, oh crap, they it's revealed for sure. Like, people kept always speculating, there's an announcement from, I forget the company that makes the game, but there's an announcement from them, hopefully it's Borderlands 3, it's a reboot or a DLC or Borderlands 2 for the Switch or something, just like those games have been released so many times. I mean, Borderlands just got re-released again for, the current generation of consoles. And, finally they were like, okay, yeah, Borderlands 3 for sure, for real this time. Here's a trailer and everything. It's a real game. It's coming out, new characters, new storyline, all that. And I was just like, about freaking time, but I mean, it's going to be something else for sure. Hopefully this will be like a good revitalizing point for the gaming industry in general.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. Like, I don't know what's going on with shooters, but they're all copying each other. They're unoriginal and they're totally disappointing.
Absolutely.
Right now, especially, with all the big buzz stuff been going on, Anthem got overhyped and people bought it without just waiting for the first DLC. I did that. I bought it, but that's just because I needed something to play, like for real. But I've noticed a trend of everyone going back to those like trusted names, like Siege made a resurgence.
Yeah.
Games like that, Call of Duty, it's Call of Duty, so it's what you're gonna get, but I feel like not too many people are into Call of Duty like they used to be.
Oh yeah.
Battlefield 5 was a bust in a lot of people's eyes. Stuff like that. So it's like to see something that's not necessarily fresh, but it's trusted to give you a good time. It's kind of refreshing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I feel like that's just what gaming has kind of come to. And I don't even want to say it's necessarily sequels or like because I totally get the carbon copy thing. I feel like most games that come out nowadays, it's like it's not even worth the time. I'm feel like I'm waiting for the time period where everybody's always saying that, or I've said for a long time at least, that I can't wait till VR. Like, we can insert ourselves into the game because that will be the ultimate gaming experience. We won't need anything after that.
I mean, yeah, because even if it's a carbon copy, like it's VR, so it's you doing it.
Yeah, so that'd be awesome. The other thing I'm waiting for is when games stop being released as far as Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 4 or something, here's this game, Kingdom Hearts, and then we're just going to add everything to this game. The story is going to keep, because I mean, I feel like you do that anyways. Is that not what DLC is? Another part of the story. So why not just give us our game and then give us the next part of the story, whatever it is you guys come up with, for let it at least entertain us for a couple hours. If it's a Call of Duty game, if it's Borderlands, if it's a fighting game, whatever it is, update the system. You guys do big system updates, character changes and all that stuff happens.
That's what makes games like Rainbow Six and like fighting games like Mortal Kombat and Tekken so interesting. It's the DLC for those games are literally like new characters, new maps, new styles of play, new worlds to visit.
Yeah, I feel like that whole, here's the next game needs to kind of needs to go extinct, really. I feel like it's tired, it's washed. I don't care. I just want you to update my game because you guys do everything digitally nowadays anyways, I download the game. Just give me an update for this game. If enhance the graphics. I'm sure there's a way to do it. Maybe it's a little bit more complicated. I'm making it seem. I'm probably definitely oversimplifying it because I mean, I know a lot goes into, doing whatever you want in a game. But like even for Spider-Man, I mean, they added so much DLC and I don't even think that's the end of it. They added 3 chapters to like this whole little story. And I feel like if they add any more, it's just like, man, you guys just keep adding onto the story. It's like, might as well just don't even make a second game. Just keep it like this and keep the story going, like. I
imagine there's probably a reason that they do that. I don't know what it would be because in general, you'd think that'd save you money. You don't have to pay to make discs and pay for the cases and distribute it kind of thing. So that would save the money. So I don't really know why they don't. There must be a reason that we just don't.
I assume it's just like the overhaul of the times. Like for example, like if let's say this had started and then you have like Borderlands 1 compared to Borderlands 2. I mean, it's not the best improvement in the world, but I mean the landscapes in Borderlands 2 are a lot more lush, vibrant colors and full of like things in the environment versus Borderlands 1. There's a lot of open space, a lot of just nothingness there. It's just kind of like a generalized cave, no real details or whatever, there's nothing, not much to it, but that's the only thing I can think of because I've never seen, at least in a game, versus like World of Warcraft. They do it on there. That's kind of why I bring it up. That's PC stuff, but I don't know why. But I mean, I guess for like, games where you, like a main console where you can't just change out the graphics card and make it however many, your FPS higher quality or, your 1080p or whatever, 4K, whatever the frick it is now, you can't just change that in and out on a console. So that could be why. Maybe they have to do that themselves, install it into the game or whatever it is so that it transfers over. But I don't see why you couldn't just do that digitally, personally. I mean, I don't know. Because I mean, like you said,
how many times have you
the games
turned on a game in the last year and the first thing I needed to do was update?
A crap ton. Or
the first thing, like I just pre-ordered this game, just got it today, finally got it downloaded. Hey, we have a patch. Or, hey, do you want to buy the year one? What do you mean the year one? Oh, it's going to come with all the DLCs in the first year. Why would I need DLC in the first year? Why not just give it all to me in one game?
Yeah.
And then year two, like, hey, here's some extra stuff you can explore.
Yeah.
I guess because you do have those people who will sit there all day long and beat a game,
just jam through something.
Yeah. There's professional like game runners, so I understand that. But for like more casual players, like, how long it's taking me to like beat a Pokemon game and then like have to look, the meta, like, after there's still more stuff for me to do.
Yeah.
But that's only because I like go to work and I can't game like that.
Yeah.
I guess if you can. But even then, I don't have the attention span to like sit there and play all day.
I just want to point out for Pokemon, I've been shocked every time the game comes out and you can't collect every single badge that has come out before that game.
I mean, they did it in like gold and silver. You can go to the Kanto League and get the badges,
which was super awesome. I don't know why that wasn't the norm after that. I can only go here. The last game, I was just doing all this stuff. I can only do this now? Come on.
Well, I think like Pokemon has multiverses.
Speaking of Pokemon, that brings us to our next segment.
Yes, it does. We were all discussing, I guess you would call it a meme or maybe just a question that somebody created out of a picture. Who created the greatest universe? There's a lot of them. Stan Lee with Marvel, Walt Disney with Disney, J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter, J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball, and there's a whole bunch more. And there's about 10 of them in total. They're all very popular, very successful franchises. For this discussion, though, I also wanted to point out that I think we should keep it like specifically like that created universe, like for Marvel, obviously like superheroes. I don't care about like necessarily the movies. And I don't necessarily care about the, well, I guess movies are fine because I mean that's where a lot of these characters come out of. But I'm speaking more like I don't care about the physical stuff, not the cons necessarily, not the amusement parks themes or anything like that. Just more so speaking of like the actual like characters and like places in that world. When it comes to Disney, like Mickey Mouse himself, Goofy, all those cats. Pete. You could even go over whatever movies, Pocahontas. Sleeping Beauty, etc. J.K. Rowling, of course, with Harry Potter. The Harry Potter movies, not necessarily like Harry Potter Land or whatever the freak it's called, or that spot in Universal Studios.
And you mean just like the work, or are we also counting like the influence and impact it has had in culture?
I would say just the work.
Yeah, because I mean,
it could be it's all objective, but for me to say like Marvel had the biggest impact over Harry Potter, I would say that we do like just the works itself, because the impact it had on me would be completely different from what it had on anybody else.
Well, I meant like impact on culture, like on the world, not individuals.
Okay, then on culture. Okay.
You think that should count?
It's up to you guys. I mean, you guys can kind of grade it however you guys want to. I feel like we all have our own individual ideas of who we think created the best universe and our reasons why. Obviously, based off of this, I mean, you got Marvel, Disney, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Dragon Ball, Star Trek, Star Wars, Pokemon, Chronicles, and Narnia. That's a lot. That's damn near a top 10 right there in and of itself. But off of that list already, what would you guys take off?
Off the list?
Yeah.
Harry Potter, gotta go.
Harry Potter's out of there.
Pokemon, gotta go.
Really?
Dragon Ball, gotta go.
Wow, you're surprising me right now by saying those first. You said Harry Potter, Dragon Ball, and Pokemon.
Yeah.
Let's start with three that you're going to take off first. You go next, Sonny.
I would say Game of Thrones, Chronicles of Narnia, and probably Harry Potter.
Okay,
also.
So we're all agreeing that Harry Potter's out of here.
I just feel like it's just too new, and it's not. I mean, it's great. I love the whole thing. I'm not too into it, but yeah, I just don't think
it's not even that for me. I want to hear Taylor's first before I say why I choose those three to go.
Okay, for me, I'm gonna say Harry Potter, Chronicles of Narnia, and probably Star Trek. Well, I'm saying Game of Thrones over Star Trek. So those three are gonna gone. Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Chronicles of Narnia.
Same as me. Literally the same as me. Okay.
All right.
I would say Star Trek, but the only thing is that Game of Thrones, I haven't watched it, so I'm like not a fan at all.
Well, Game of Thrones is good, but it's not that good. Like compared to Star Trek, where Star Trek has been, where it's come from, if we are counting cultural impact, definitely not going to beat Star Trek.
I feel like I like the 3 Star Trek movies, the newer ones that came out. I'm a fan of them personally. And Galaxy Quest.
I've only seen the first new one. I didn't see the others because I'm not a big Star Trek fan.
So do you guys want to explain why you decided to kick those 3 off?
Sure, I'll go first. Harry Potter for me, it's one of those things where I started reading the books as a kid. When I was a kid, I used to have to read for like an hour a day after school. So like bigger books were kind of like, I don't want to say my best friend because I hated reading. But I mean, hey, I can read stuff now, which is awesome. But Harry Potter was like a good series to read. It was interesting. It taught me a lot of big words. But then when the movies came out, I was enthralled with like, oh, cool. Like I can see this stuff on screen. But I feel like the majority of like the first 4 movies is kind of like pointless. Like it doesn't. You just kind of build a world, I guess. It's like the first 4 movies. You're kind of just setting like the building blocks for the world, and then you just kind of break it down because something really bad happens, and then the last three books, the last 3 movies, it's like everything's turned upside down because things are different now because it's like Hitler came back to life and now he's running things. So until that part happens with the action and stuff, it's just not interesting to me, especially now. Maybe as a kid, it was a little bit more interesting, but now it's just kind of like can we not watch? Like, there's a Harry Potter marathon. Okay, let's come back in about 8 hours when the first 4 movies are done and come back then when the action actually starts. Chronicles of Narnia, first movie, it's good. I haven't seen I think there was 2 more movies, or was there 1 movie that came out after that? I think there was 2.
I think it was 2 or 3.
There was 3.
Yeah, so
3 total.
I only saw the first one. It was interesting to say the least. I liked it. I remember playing the game too. The game was kind of fun, but it didn't really capture my attention. Like probably not even to the level of Harry Potter. It didn't really capture my attention. And then Game of Thrones is just a knockoff Lord of the Rings in my opinion, but I'll just leave that to myself. Anyways, what about you guys?
I guess for me with Harry Potter, like I feel like I said, it's fine. It's good. It has its bones. It has good bones. But with J.K. Rowling specifically, like I feel like maybe she didn't plan it very well because, years later, then she comes out and says, oh, so-and-so is gay. Oh, so-and-so this, that, whatever. And it's like, okay, so that to me says you didn't really think of it at the time and you're just kind of now trying to make up for that. So that just to me says, poor planning. So,
yeah.
But otherwise, it did have a good cultural impact, like a really big impact. So of my 3 that I picked, that would be like the top of those. I'm not really sure, how C.S. Lewis and his Chronicles of Narnia, how when it first originally came out, how that impacted culture. I didn't do research on that. So it's hard to say if that one would be my second or third for Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones has had a really big impact, but also kind of very exploitive, I guess, of especially the show. Lots of nudity and sex, lots of violence against women, and it's kind of like really fanboy. It's like, written by a fanboy. So I wouldn't say it's a ripoff Lord of the Rings because it's totally not like Lord of the Rings. It's totally not. But I mean, I do watch the show, so I like the show, but yeah, it's not that great.
All right. So Taylor said mine surprised him. So I'm going to tell you exactly why mine surprised him. It's because I'm actually a fan of both Harry Potter, Dragon Ball, and Pokemon. Well, all 3 of them. I didn't mean to say both. Really big fans of it. I know a lot of backstory for Dragon Ball. I could argue Dragon Ball and Pokemon all day long. I even played the post game in Pokemon and go online and whoop ass. But I will say those 3 to me spawned 3 of my most hated fan bases in the world. I can honestly say that because you will have people in their late 20s, mid to late 30s fanboying over Harry Potter. You'll have those people, Dragon Ball fan base, only because everybody and their mama knows Dragon Ball. Everybody knows who Goku is. And if you have any argument, it automatically turns into, yeah, but Goku. Dragon Ball is a flat story. You know what's going to happen. So even as exciting as it is to watch, I already know how it's going to end because of those fanboys and their attitudes about, I don't want to see Goku lose.
Yeah.
And Pokemon, it's Pokemon. Like, I feel like the show, one is for the kids. The manga's adult orientated. You know, they actually die. The games are fun, but as for like cultural impact, no, not so much. I don't think they had that much of an impact, or the universe is not that expansive because they redo a lot of things. Mew has the DNA of every Pokemon, but Arceus is the OG.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty convoluted. It gets convoluted in Pokemon, but cultural impact.
The cultural impact. Everybody knows
that song. I want to be the very best.
Everybody knows. But as for as the universe, because I'm arguing the universe. Harry Potter is very new. Dragon Ball, it cuts things from being canon all the time.
Yeah, so dumb.
And Pokemon's storyline is just so convoluted that it's like there has to be multiverses, and that's the only thing I can think of.
Ash is a vampire.
Ashes in a coma. We all know this. Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
That is so much darker than vampire. Oh my god.
Pikachu shocked him. He ended up in a coma. And now he's getting to live out his dream.
That's crazy.
All right, so since I ended with the worst one, I'm also going to tell you my top 3.
Okay.
So
starting with 1 or just all equal?
No, there is a number 1. There's a number 1 above all.
Let's say all equal at this point. Just give us your top 3
and then you'll argue.
Yeah. So you want me like my middle 3, or you want my top 3?
Top.
My top 3?
Yeah, go for top.
Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, the big great.
Okay.
I'm going to go C.S. Lewis.
What?
Which Sonny didn't like Chronicles of Narnia, but hey, what are you gonna do?
I'm very intrigued,
and I'm gonna go Roddenberry.
Wow, I'm so curious right now. What say you, Sonny?
My top 3, I would also pick Tolkien, Walt Disney, and I'm God, it's hard to pick between Marvel and Star Trek on that one.
Wow.
So, oh God, that's hard. That is really hard to pick. Jesus. I'm going to say I'll do Marvel. Marvel will be my... So
Walt Disney, Marvel, or Disney, Marvel, and Lord of the Rings?
Yep.
Okay. And mine's is probably going to be Marvel, Lord of the Rings. And I mean, for me, it's going to be really hard to pick between...
I know, that third one's hard to pick.
I mean, for me, it'd probably be Dragon Ball or Star Wars. They've both been a big part of my life, but I'm probably going to say Dragon Ball. Yeah, Star Wars is cool. Star Trek wasn't really a big thing for me. It is for like my mom, but not for me. Star Wars was way bigger for me. But yeah, Marvel, Dragon Ball, and Lord of the Rings. Those 3, those are the ones right there for me, at least. But what were you about to say, Sam? You were going to say something before?
Oh, why I can't pick Marvel?
Yeah.
As much as I love comic books, as much as I love Marvel, as much as I love the MCU, I can't pick them because they don't have one singular universe.
I could understand that.
They have so many, and I like multiple of them, so I can't sit there and choose one. I can't. Well, I want to choose Earth 626.
Well, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know if you have to break it down like that specifically.
It's the thing. Like, and how many times have Marvel been redone?
Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna X all of his.
Yeah, from the main continuity.
That's a very good point.
How many times have like one of their heroes killed off the entire Marvel universe?
Yeah. I mean, Deadpool's done it twice, hasn't he?
he's done it twice. Deadpool's done it. Hulk has done it. Punisher's done it.
It's crazy.
That's why I can't choose Marvel to be the greatest universe. Yeah. There's just so many of them, and it's been done over so many times.
I can respect that. Who wants to go first as far as defend your top 3 or say whatever you want about your top 3 and then pick your number 1 overall?
All right, I'm gonna just go ahead and do mine because you're surprised by it.
Yeah, that's super surprised.
I'm just gonna say my number 1 overall is Tolkien with Lord of the Rings. Without Tolkien, none of the other ones would exist. It is what it is. Tolkien's universe, Lord of the Rings universe. He not only gave us the main, meat and potatoes, but he has so many writings for it. It goes back thousands of years talking about the old gods, how Gandalf went from being an angel to being a wizard.
Yeah.
How Sauron fell, how all this has happened to lead up to the point of the One Ring. Then afterwards, and then go into each race by detail and how they got there, who they serve, which god they look out for, and whatnot. How the orcs and the elves are originally one people, but one decided to follow Sauron. He gave us literally everything you wanted to know about his.
It's like Jay-Z of fantasy. Gave us the blueprint.
Yeah, he is the godfather of fantasy. Like, his path should be followed by more fantasy writers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's great that, you know, Sunny didn't pick Game of Thrones, but it's being done in that same way. You know, George R.R. Martin, he's given us Duncan and an egg. Every time he references an old story, he goes back and like tells us that story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's given us that backstory of like what's going on and whatnot. So that's why I picked Tolkien, because he gave us it all. Star Trek, of course, sci-fi, it like defined a genre pretty much. It showed you that you can do it on TV. Patrick Stewart, do I have to say anything else?
Patrick Stewart. Nice. Now that last one got me through a doozy right there.
For real? C.S. Lewis?
Yeah, that was...
Okay, so if Tolkien is the godfather, then like C.S. Lewis was your big brother holding your hand through your childhood. Like, his books and whatnot, maybe you guys didn't read Narnia, but for like some people who did, those books were like magical as a kid. Like, especially you had a wide imagination that you can actually picture it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like the movie, because when they did the movie, I'm like, wow, like this is what I know as a kid. And those books have stood the test of time. Like, some people are still reading those books as kids. And they're great stories. They're great backstories, beautiful imagery. And it's just really well for young readers. It sets you up for future reading goals, or it helps put you into the fantasy, like introduce you to the fantasy realm.
And it was geared towards kids, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
Yeah, it's not super adult.
Yeah, and that'd be a good intro as opposed to like going straight into Tolkien.
Exactly.
You'd probably start at C.S. Lewis.
That's a valid.
So
That's a good argument.
those are the two like greats of fantasy writing. It's Tolkien and Lewis.
Okay.
But then again, you know, as you get older, when you read like Call of Cthulhu. Then we get into a whole
other ball game period.
A whole nother ball game. That H.P. Lovecraft life. We might have to bring a special guest on for that one though.
Sure.
Do you want me to go next, Taylor?
I'll wrap it up first.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
For me, I think I'd also put Tolkien as number one, especially Sam made a very good argument. Definitely he's a inspiration for a lot, if not all, of the other universes in this discussion. My number two, I would probably go with Disney. Just Disney had a huge cultural impact. And especially, you know, he wasn't, you know, the first to animate, but he was one of the first companies or people to bring animation. And I love animated movies. I love animation. So I have to give him credit right there on that, at least. So I definitely appreciate Disney. Marvel, I think, you know, has had a huge cultural impact. Obviously, it's great too. I mean, I like the movies. I don't read too many comics, but I definitely love the movies, and I can't deny, you know, the impact they've had on pop culture.
Can't scroll anywhere, can't go anywhere without seeing somebody dressed like Captain America, Spider-Man, or Iron Man, probably.
Yeah, there's some great characters in that universe.
They haven't even been exposed to like the general population yet.
You know.
And I think that's a very important thing. Marvel still has so much up their sleeve.
Yeah, there's probably hundreds of them. Yeah, that the general public has no idea exists. So.
All righty then. Okay, who did I say? I said Marvel, Lord of the Rings, and Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama. My number one, I'll get that out of the way, kind of like Sam did. It's going to be Marvel. Lord of the Rings and Dragon Ball, though. Let's start with Dragon Ball. Sam briefly touched on the fact that like Akira Toriyama wasn't kind of like what you said about J.K. Rowling. I feel like he didn't really have everything planned out right away, and it's kind of coming together more for him, especially with, you know, him being older now, him having help on the series, and him just kind of being a very general approving guide of it all. You know, the bits and pieces that were disconnected and weren't weren't altogether there are slowly but surely coming together. I mean, even with the new Broly movie, it connected a lot for Dragon Ball. Even if you ignore the fact that Goku was probably a little bit older than it originally said he was when he came to planet Earth, fine. But overall, as far as the story is concerned, it's like, we saw his mom, we saw his dad, and we saw both of them in a different light. We still get the same overarching story about, okay, Frieza destroyed their planet. And then, if you take it from there and then apply it to whatever else we know about now, then it's like, okay, everything flows pretty good except for the original movies that came out for like Dragon Ball Z. But this stuff in Dragon Ball Super so far has been flowing pretty good. It's expanding the universe a lot to make it a multiverse now. I think there's, 12 different universes or 13, I forget, something like that, 12 or 13. And it just keeps expanding. And while I critique the show very heavily, amongst my friends and, to myself, I'm just like, oh my gosh, we've seen this 100 times. But at the end of the day, I also am aware that, it looks great. When you see it, you're like, man, that's the animation on that looks great. It looks so crisp and clean and beautiful. Oh my gosh. Like this is, this intro to whatever this is so dope. This new form, it, gets its highlight moment and it's super awesome. The next villain is a little bit, I don't really care about that stuff anymore. But overall, Dragon Ball has affected me from my childhood to watching it every day after school, becoming an adult and still loving it, seeing people dress up as that, wanting to draw in that same kind of style, things like that. So it's affected me a lot. J.R.R. Tolkien with Lord of the Rings. I've only read bits and pieces of Lord of the Rings just because like I said, as a young kid, book reading wasn't really my thing and I was kind of forced into it. And that was a really big book. Even just movie wise though, I would have never imagined myself liking something like this. But when Lord of the Rings came out and I watched it, and it just a Fellowship of the Ring, some people tend to think that movie's boring. I watch it and I'm just like hypnotized, glued to the screen every time. It was the characters are so interesting. I mean, even just seeing the Fellowship kind of break apart and, the personal sacrifice that everybody makes, even though like they're all here for Frodo, they're all here for, a mission. And even when they fail in that mission and, are kind of led astray because of the rings, because of their desires for the ring, they still are able to like shake that off in support of Frodo and to save him and ultimately to sacrifice themselves even at the end and return to the king with the final battle, for Frodo, all that stuff. I mean, and there's great memes from Lord of the Rings. I mean, you can, the smiling Frodo, all right, then keep your secrets.
That's my favorite meme of all time.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings is so great. And I mean, who can forget Gandalf with his big wizard hat? I mean, I can't. I certainly can't.
And obviously, you shall not pass.
Oh, yes.
I mean, obviously, his wizard hat wasn't enough to keep him like at number one.
But for me in Marvel, though, obviously the MCU is vast and wide. It's ever expanding, it seems like, and they have seemed to do no wrong yet. Comic book wise, another just Marvel in and of itself. I mean, they just pretty much take things from the comics and implement them as they see fit, whatever kind of like to some degree original storylines they play. They kind of take titles and take story arcs and kind of implement them in their own fresh ways in the movies. Civil War obviously being one of those.
Being the good guy.
Yeah, that definitely being an interesting take. Civil War, obviously, like it was nothing like that in the comics. It was much more hardcore. I mean, somebody died. The fighting was a lot more violent to the point where it was just kind of like in the movie, I guess, Captain America kind of just like, I'm just here for my friend, and they get away and that's it. Or at the end of the actual Civil War in the comic books, Captain America was basically moments away from killing Iron Man, and then like instead of just like, okay, like I've defeated you, he was like, I'm about to kill you, and then he's just like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And just turns himself in as a criminal, and he gets killed for it. So it's, they do what they please in the movies, but the comic books and the stories in general, I mean, there's just been so many, even just between like me and my brother, my brother's been reading comic books longer than I have. I remember being a kid, he left a bunch of comic books in my house. Our dog at the time ate the comic books, and he was kind of mad, but, he got over it. I'm his little brother. It wasn't that big of a deal to him. But, I've been introduced to, he had me watching X-Men as a little kid, loving Wolverine. His favorite characters are Cyclops, and I've always kind of go for like the, the cool, badass characters. And he was always kind of like the leader of in most cases. So just like, something cool to watch, as a kid, and inspiring teams. With great power comes with great responsibility, all those things. They're just great themes in general in Marvel. And even it kind of even gives you some more adult themes, of course, as well, because there's many dark stories in Marvel as well. So that's always kind of I don't want to say the plus side, but it adds a bit of intrigue versus like, you just get all this kind of like happy-go-lucky content, fighting. Okay, fighting's cool. But then, something really sinister happens that makes you think about like, oh man, like this is a fantasy world, but it's placed in the real world. Like things happen in real life that also happen in these comic books that are just tragic and unfortunate. And they're told in a lot of things are just told in interesting and new ways. I mean, World War II with Captain America, I mean, like implementing the thought of like a super soldier, a guy who was pretty much a nobody. And then, he just had a bunch of heart. They pumped him full of quote unquote steroids. And, he did so much to help that whole victory, that whole war effort.
Yeah.
In and of itself, it's just awesome to see these things with a little bit of a twist in them. And a lot of times I feel like it makes it more positive, makes it kind of easier to go about,
Yeah.
And I think it's great. And I feel like another big thing for Marvel too, for me, is like the whole X-Men concept in and of itself, with Charles Xavier being MLK and Magneto being Malcolm X.
Yeah.
For a long time, Marvel has been pushing equal rights, has been, the forefront of equality and not judging people by the color of their skin or, where they're from or their background and things like that. But just like by the content of your character, you know what I mean? The X-Men are made up of a bunch of different guys from different places, and they have to work together to defeat whatever person that they're fighting, whatever problem that they're associated with. Same for the Avengers. Everybody's from different backgrounds. Spider-Man's broke. Tony Stark's a billionaire. Captain America just a soldier. Black Widow's a spy. Hulk is just a super smart guy, that gets super angry, has anger problems, At the end of the day, they work together, and it teaches you teamwork, So just the best themes overall. And that's pretty much it for that. Yeah. That's my number one. So
Nice.
Oh, I guess I'm not gonna. Never mind. I was gonna ask if you guys heard something about Avengers, the new one, but I know Sam's avoiding
Everything.
any kind of spoilers, so I can't.
Well, the last thing I guess before we wrap this up is I had asked you guys a question before about, obviously in the first movie in Infinity War, people died. A lot of people died or went away, and some people surprisingly survived that whole first battle. So for the second movie, who would you guys want to see die, if anybody at all? And who do you guys want to, like, you don't want to see the rest of this franchise without a certain character?
Cap gotta go. I don't say that because I distinctly hate Captain America, but Cap gotta go. There's gonna have to be like some driving force to like force them all to come together and work. And I don't see Captain America being in the franchise for much longer. So it's got to be him.
In a weird way. And because I totally thought you were going to say that because you do hate Captain America, but he's both for mine. He's my person I want to see live, but he's my person I want to see go. Because I feel like if he's going to go, now is the best time for him to go. And it would just be a great send off, like personal sacrifice. That's the only way I can see Cap going out. And that's the only way I can see them overcoming Thanos is with personal sacrifice. And who better to do it than, the Cap himself.
The pretty boy.
The martyr.
Self-righteous asshole.
Wow. Okay.
The guy that's like, no one has to die. And they all end up dying. Half the universe ends up dying.
Yeah, I also, I personally don't want to see anyone die, but if someone had to go, I'd pick Captain America also because I don't like him. And then who I obviously don't want to die is Iron Man because Robert Downey Jr. is a favorite.
I mean, I feel the same way that, he could die too.
No, don't say that.
Like, honestly, like I could see him going too.
No, don't say that. You're going to make me cry. If he dies, I will cry. Like he would be the only person I'd cry about dying.
I'm sure I'll cry if Captain America dies. I'm certain I will.
I'm trying to think of who I would like to see like continue on. This is like a really hard decision.
In a weird way, I want to see Thor go on only because I feel like he had the most improvement as far as movies is concerned.
From Thor 1, listen to the fans.
Yeah, and with Thor 1 and Thor 2, meh. Thor 3 was like a complete 180. I know they had a different director, but I think overall that movie was just more, it wasn't necessarily as serious, I guess, as Thor can be. It added a lot more humor, I guess it was just well needed. I mean, the Thor movies didn't need to be so serious and make him necessarily just kind of like a complete bonehead, which I feel like it tends to happen because, like he's not from Earth or whatever, and he has to come here and then he doesn't necessarily know the customs and understand certain things. So he just kind of seems dumb. But seeing him in Thor Ragnarok was just like, this is great. This is what we needed since the beginning. Yeah. This is the Thor we needed from the beginning. I mean, I'm fine with the Thor we got, and I'm glad to have seen the improvement, but I would like to see him keep going forward and then make a Thor 4 that's just as good as Thor 3, at least, if not better. And then, continue to help out the team in any way he can.
Oh, I know. I want to see Valkyrie make a return.
You want her to keep going forward as far as the movies and being in the whole franchise.
Yeah, like a sidekick character, because one, she is a badass character. But no, in all seriousness, in all regards, I rather see Captain Marvel.
Wow.
And that's like, I was surprised I actually said that myself.
Did you guys go see that yet, by the way?
Yeah, we did.
You guys like it?
Did you not catch me talking about the Skrull being good guys?
Oh yeah, you did say that. That's right.
But yeah, Captain Marvel, only because, if you have Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Thor, Vision, those four themselves can like wreck shit, like if they really wanted to. So
I just don't want her to. Rumor has it that she's going to inherit the mantle from Captain America, and because they didn't actually call her Captain Marvel inside her own movie, and I'm not going to appreciate that if that is the case.
Like she'll be Captain America, or do you think she's just going to take the lead position in the Avengers?
She'll probably take the lead.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm hearing both. No. I'm hearing that she's going to take the lead, and that they're going to give her like the mantle of she's going to be the leader. So they're basically they're going to call her Captain Marvel because Captain America would be no more.
Are these fucking dumb fanboys saying this?
I guess possibly.
People who have never read comics before. Like, no, shut the fuck up.
I don't know.
No, that makes no sense. If anybody was to get the mantle of Captain America, we know who it would be.
Who it should be and who it will be are potentially two different things, though. That's the only issue I see.
If anybody, the only answer to that question is Falcon.
I hope he gets it too. I'd much rather see a Captain Falcon, quote unquote, versus like a Winter Soldier, a Captain America either.
Falcon.
No, but Bucky as Captain America, he was badass. I'm not gonna lie. But Falcon with that red, white, and blue.
Oh yeah, that costume is super dope. Yeah. I could definitely see Anthony Mackie wearing that.
It's dope as fuck. I'm just saying. But Marvel, no, shut up. She was a pilot. That's how she got that down.
Or it could even just be like a movie where Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan are fighting over the mantle of Captain America. They're just both utilizing some version of him, like.
No, just give you a 5-minute short. That's all you need. Like, at the end of the movie, just them in a boxing ring, like Rocky style.
Well, I just imagine if Captain America dies, they probably would be respectful enough not to
not actually fight, but I mean, like it could be like a movie called Captain America, but it's like Captain America's question mark or something, where it's like Anthony Mackie's taking up the mantle of Captain America. He's using a shield, but he's using his wings too, just like in the comic books. And then Winter Soldier is like full on Captain America,
Gave me a trolling idea right there. Like that title card, but I'm putting the instant in Rocky. Where Creed and Rocky has that one punch in the ring.
Oh my gosh. And it's just the two of them just duking it out for it. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. I'd pay to watch that. Oh. A little 10-minute clip of them just boxing in a ring, and that'd be great. But all right, guys, I think that's probably about it for this episode. We're definitely up there in time right now. I appreciate you guys all for watching. Please be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We also have our own website, www.culturebytheuncultured.com. It has the links to all our social media platforms, as well as the links to the platforms you can actually listen to this on, which would be YouTube as well as SoundCloud.
And sorry we didn't get to this or that. I know you said that in the beginning, but
all right, we'll get you guys next time. Until then, this is Culture by the Uncultured.
If you say signing out.
I changed it last time. I'm going to just change it every time. So saying goodbye for now.